Benjamin is actually born in the same place as Yeshua was.
Because people must know. Hey everybody, welcome to Grafted. I'm Sam, this is Tom, and today we are gonna do a reaction video to The Shepherd.
You're gonna wanna watch this again or see it for the first time, so we thought we would react to it and get us in the Christmas spirit.
Let's do it.
I know it's before Thanksgiving, but here we go.
Lovely day today, isn't it? How are you?
But you, O Bethlehem Ephrath, who are too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose coming forth is from old, from ancient days. Therefore, he shall give them up unto the time when she who is in labor has given birth, and he shall be their peace. A reading from the scroll of the prophet Micah.
I think it's good to mention Yeshua, of course, goes into a synagogue on Nazareth in Luke chapter 4 and reads also from the prophets, reads from Isaiah chapter 61. So this was a part of that first century tradition, and it still continues today, actually, reading from the scrolls every week. So
yeah, and it's good to note that if you didn't know, but Jesus being born in Bethlehem was a prophecy fulfilled.
In fact, when they come and ask the Magi, ask Herod, where is the Messiah born? Even Herod said something about Bethlehem. So it was an understood first century thing that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem.
Yeah, it's a Messianic expectation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to give us a lower price. And without that.
Perfect, no blemish, nothing wrong. See?
Spotless.
Good, no blemish.
This one's good.
Thank you.
Teacher, I have a question about the Messiah. I've studied Torah every day.
A shepherd wants to learn.
Yes.
Just just wanted to pause here and say, if you guys want more amazing Christmas content, The Chosen is putting out an awesome episode at Christmas, December 1st through December 10th in theaters. So you're going to get your tickets now. They're all selling out super fast.
Super fast. Yeah, click on the link in the description below. Get all the information there.
Invite friends and family to the Chosen Christmas special. It's called The Messengers. And it's going to fill out this Christmas celebration this year, so you can add that tradition to watching the Elf or... maybe White Christmas is maybe a little more traditional. But
Christmas Story.
Now you got the shepherd, and we've got this awesome biblical content to connect with your family with the real story, the true story of Christmas.
Yeah.
Do you believe the Messiah will set us free from the occupation?
Yes, he will make a great military leader.
Are you sure? Just because last Shabbat the priest read from Prophet Ezekiel, and he did not say...
How dare you?
I'm sorry, teacher. He is obsessed.
You brought this animal? I said spotless.
Spotless, yes.
These are for righteous men, for the perfect sacrifice.
Very sorry. Very sorry. Very sorry.
You wonder why the Messiah hasn't come? People like you keeping him away with your stains. If you come back here without a perfect lamb, I will banish you all from the marketplace.
Now, come. I warned you about this. Are you deaf as well as lame?
I'm sorry.
We are not slowing down for you. You take this rat back up to the hill and try and keep up. Or find your own way back.
I think we should at least comment on the shepherding thing, and there's something important here that it's actually really cool they brought out. That is that the lambs of the shepherds here are for the sacrificial system.
Right.
So Bethlehem is really close to Jerusalem. It's like 6 miles or something. So, and we know based on some of the Jewish extra-biblical writings that the lambs and the animals they were raising in Bethlehem were for the sacrificial system.
Yeah.
So, although these are, quote, ordinary shepherds, they're not really just ordinary shepherds. These are shepherds that are
raising intentional lambs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For the sacrificial system.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so, although it's obviously pretty harsh here,
right.
There's this long history of shepherds in the Bible, and I was thinking about it. Sam, do you know who the first shepherd is?
The first shepherd?
This is a Bible quiz.
Ooh. I mean, I'd probably have to take a wild guess. Noah?
Well, no, I was thinking about it. It's probably Abel.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Adam was probably a shepherd as well, but I don't know if it says anything about, those kind of animals.
I was trying to go through like Genie. I was like, I'm not going to get to that.
Yeah, that was a long way. But my point more was like, more about Israel actually, like Abraham was a shepherd, Isaac was a shepherd, Jacob was a shepherd,
for sure.
David was a shepherd, Moses was a shepherd, there's this shepherding theme, right?
Yeah.
And one of the keys to biblical interpretation is when you see the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, God's trying to say something.
Could be, right? Yeah.
So I was thinking about it, I was like, this shepherding reality is not an accident here.
Right.
That he's choosing the shepherds.
Right.
Right? And then what do shepherds do? They care for the animals. Right. That without these animals, you can't have a right relationship with God.
Interesting.
And Israel's like
Yeah.
role,
Yeah.
this covenantal role of Israel and the Jewish people,
Yeah.
is this covenant's like this mechanism of right relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, why Israel? But it's like, well, why lambs?
Right. Right.
You know, it's a similar connection
For sure.
where their role is to help us be in right relationship with God. They're not God.
Right.
You know, Israel doesn't save anyone. They don't save themselves, but
Right.
God still uses them
Right.
as this mechanism of salvation even
Wow.
in the
That's
new
so good.
covenant.
That's so good.
And sheeps don't, I
No-
said
no
sheep's
power.
plural. It's not plural.
Sheeps.
They don't save anyone.
Meese.
Moose.
Sorry.
But moose don't save anyone.
Definitely not.
And lambs don't.
No.
See, that one you can plural. That one.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
You put an S on the lambs. Yeah.
sheep, 'cause they don't save anyone, and yet God still is saying, I want you to sacrifice these lambs. I don't know. I just think that's like really extraordinary.
Right.
And then, of course, who is Yeshua?
Yeah, he's the shepherd and he's the lamb, right?
He's both.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Right.
It's like he's the sacrifice. He's the high priest
Yeah.
and the sacrificial lamb and the
Right.
great shepherd and the great. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. He's the shepherd that lays his life down for the
Right.
sheep. You know, all of that. And I love that you brought that in, because really, even what you just did was you brought us from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. The beginning of the story with Abel being a shepherd, bringing a sacrifice that's to the Lord, that it's a sacrifice that was accepted.
Right.
Cain's was rejected, and then at the end of the story, you have Jesus standing as the lamb who has been slain.
wow, it's good.
It's like it's congruent all throughout. So there's a reason, like you're saying, it's like it's a way that the Lord's communicating His love and His covenantal faithfulness and the way
Yeah.
to become a part of His family, right?
That's so good. And when you said that, I was thinking he's the lamb who was slain, and then he's the great shepherd, and he's gathering. It says,
Yeah.
his sheep into one shepherd, one flock.
Wow.
He says, right, and he
that's good.
separates the sheep
Yeah.
from the
goats. Yeah,
right?
Right.
It's like it's so God, it's so Hebraic, it's so biblically Jewish in that sense, because it's like metaphor and symbol, and you know, it's
He's a really good writer.
story. Yeah, exactly. It's story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway,
That's good.
so I love that they actually began the Chosen with shepherd, because this
Right.
is a foundational biblical part of the story.
Yeah, and
You know?
even that they're bringing in what you said about the lambs that they are raising, and even the relationship between shepherds and people, that kind of this despised,
Right.
job. It's like
Exactly.
they smell bad. They smell like the sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Egyptians wouldn't even eat with shepherds.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It was
That's what it says in
not
Genesis.
okay. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Your God will come with vengeance, with the recompense of love.
The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. You have multiplied the nation. You have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divided the spoil. For the yoke of his burden, and the staff for his shoulder, the rod of
You
his
need to go.
oppressor, you
Want to listen?
No, this is a holy place. Please, you are filthy. Go.
For every boot of
Get
the
out.
ramping warrior in battle tumult, and every garment rolled in blood will be burned as fuel for the fire. Strengthen the weak hands.
Excuse me, friend. Could you point me to a well in this town? My wife hasn't had a drink in hours.
At the other end of the square.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, wait. Here.
Oh, thank you for your kindness.
How far have you come?
From Galilee. Nazareth.
Don't say that too loud here. You know, they say nothing good can come from...
I know what they say about Nazareth.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Secret safe with me.
Thank you for your kindness.
And my name is Simon.
Out of my way.
We must go.
Remember, there's a good chance that, I mean, obviously Joseph is coming back to Bethlehem because of the census, right?
Right.
And it's because his family was there.
Sure.
And so scholars think that actually the Nazareth was founded by Bethlehemites as this northern kind of protective city of Israel. So in between the Old Testament and the New Testament. So that's why people say, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Is because it's not mentioned in the Old Testament.
Got it.
Because it didn't exist.
Got it. Got
Right.
it.
So, but he has family there. So I think there definitely would have known people and would have had family there. That's the whole reason he's going back for the census. Right. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I knew that. I keep getting sucked in. I like, just like absorbing it.
Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who have an anxious heart, be strong. Fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, with the recompense of God. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind.
This probably isn't a good time to stop it, but he's carrying around his sheep and
right.
I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Sam just got a goat. Is that? Do you ever?
It's true.
Like
we did get a
lead
goat,
your goat around like that, like on a leash?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing. Because apparently it was a thing 2,000 years ago.
I've only like led it to where we're gonna tie it up for the moment, you know. But my girls will. Yeah, they will. Yeah,
Okay.
they actually the goats actually leash train pretty well.
Leash train. So you're leash training your goat right now. Okay. What's the name of your goat, Sam?
Oh shoot, I just forgot.
You forgot. It's not Billy.
What is her name?
I hope your children are not watching.
I can't remember her name.
Oh shoot! I should know.
I honestly can't remember.
I can't believe you don't.
I call her Goat.
Hey, goat.
Hey, Goat.
Wow. Definitely a part of the family.
She stays outside where she should. Yeah.
Well, that was a segue.
Here we go. We're just
something.
gonna keep on rolling.
Shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap like a deer, and the tongue of the mute shall sing for joy. A reading from the scroll of the prophet Isaiah.
This way.
Yes, well, next time I will wipe my hands with his robe.
No.
He will faint.
A Pharisee is so cheap. When he writes his will, he names himself as the heir.
And then he still doesn't get much.
No.
Finally, he's back.
Hello, Simon.
Stay with the sheep.
He is useless. Why do you keep him around?
He's a good boy.
You want some dinner?
Finally.
Aaron made dinner tonight, so nothing is cooked.
Oh, yes.
The food is fine. It's my grandmother's recipe, so leave it alone.
Yeah, then that is why your grandfather left.
Again and again.
Hey, take whatever they want.
Oh, I wish that woman wouldn't have left the well.
Oh, she was very beautiful.
Very pretty.
She was very beautiful.
Can I have my dinner now?
Not with us. No. Your plate is over there.
After what happened this morning, you sleep with the sheep tonight.
And pay attention this time.
And watch out for wolves.
Watch out for the Pharisee, he might come after you.
A Roman took another sheep yesterday.
Simon, they're talking about the Romans again.
But they cooked it right in front of me.
You're lucky. You're lucky you're not part of this conversation about Romans again and again.
Let them go back.
They take whatever they want. Let's talk about something else.
himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
So there's even more. I mean, there's so much more happening here, right? But I just want to share this one thing because Yeshua's also like, he's continuing the story of Israel.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't happening out of nowhere, right? He's a part of this family that's been around for generations at this point. And so Bethlehem is not just a fulfillment of prophecy. There's so much more happening. So I just want to read this verse in Genesis and see what you think about this.
Yeah.
Genesis 35:16 says, Then they traveled from Bethel, and while they were still a distance from entering Ephrathah, Bethlehem Ephrathah, Rachel, so we're talking about one of the matriarchs here, Rachel begins to give birth, but her labor was difficult. While she was struggling to give birth, the midwife said to her, Don't be afraid, for this is also a son for you. So Rachel's actually giving birth in the same place where Miriam is here, okay?
Yeah.
Now as her soul was departing, for she died. So Rachel actually dies here. She named him, her son, Ben-Oni, which means son of suffering. But his father named him Benjamin, which means son of my right hand. Then Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. That's what the text says, right?
Right.
So we know, we just had this Micah passage, right, that prophesies the Messiah being born in Bethlehem. But we had this last son of Jacob, this last son of Israel, Benjamin, is actually born in the same place as Yeshua was.
Yeah.
And then this is what it connect the dots here, okay?
Yeah.
So Ben-Oni is
son of
sorrow or suffering, right? And then Ben-Yamin is
son of my right hand.
Okay, so who is Yeshua, Sam?
He's the Son of God, the one that sits at the right hand of the Father,
right?
The son of the right hand.
Yeah, he's the conquering, Messiah, and he's the suffering Messiah.
Wow. Yes.
So I mean, like this whole story in Genesis of this last son of Israel, is foreshadowing Yeshua's birth. I mean,
right there,
right here happens all these years later.
I never connected that he was son of sorrow first, then son of my right hand. And
Right.
Wow.
And then he is the son of sorrow
That's who
first,
he is.
and then he comes back as this. I mean, he goes and he sits at the right hand of the Father.
Right, and that's where my mind went immediately, almost forgetting the first part, but they go together.
Right. Wow. So, as you know, Jewish people in the first century, this is not unknown to them. This is in Genesis 35. This is
Torah. Yeah.
They're talking about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal.
Huge.
Right?
Man.
And then even King David, guess what? He's a shepherd from Bethlehem Ephrath.
Wow.
So, I mean, Yeshua is, what is he doing? He's reliving the story of Israel. And he's bringing redemption by reliving their story.
Right.
As this one perfect Israelite.
And it's almost like he's not like pushing the story to the side and like trying to like, let's just wash that away. But like he's like owning it.
Right.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Saying this is my family.
Oof,
and this is what I'm doing as this one perfect Israelite. And like,
this is who I am.
This is me as a covenantal faithful king, right?
And he's entering into their story because he's suffering just like they suffered.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like he's not like, oh, I'm better than you or something.
Right.
And yet he is better than them. Like, it's this fully God, fully man thing where he becomes human as this bloody baby.
Right. It's like when he says the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, right? The Son of Man, this one Daniel 7, right, reality, and then he's the suffering servant, right? He holds those two
perfect
right
tension.
there. Yeah. Wow, Tom, that was so good. I love connections like that. If you want more content just like that, click on that subscribe button. We love to put out videos just like that all the time.
so beautiful. We must tell someone. We must tell everyone. We must tell everyone. Everyone. Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We've waited for this for so long. So long.
He's on.
He's on. He's on. Yes, he's on.
Oh, it's okay. What will you name him?
Jesus.
We're gonna name him Jesus. And let's go.
People must know. People must know.
People must know.
For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time forth and forevermore.
You! I told you not to come back here. So where is it? Have you found a spotless lamb for sacrifice?
Man, there's just so many things about that are just amazing.
Can you imagine being there, Sam?
I was thinking that the whole time. It was like, from the moment that the light went out, you know, the torch went out, you have to imagine, like, nothing has ever happened like that before. The heavens open, the angels, the hosts are singing and declaring to just some shepherds on the side of a hill, you know? It's like, that would freak you out.
It's just so human.
Right.
Such a human, like he's coming to this shepherding family, and he's coming as a baby, you know,
tiny, defenseless, helpless
baby,
human.
Yeah, and it showing like the blood and everything.
Yeah,
I think that was just felt. Yeah, that's what happens.
Right.
You know, it's actually kind of a mess. And
Tom, what would you do if 3 guys walked in right after your wife gave birth?
That was true.
You're like, whoa, no.
And they're like, here, let me hold the baby. And I'm like,
no. Yeah.
They're just, but like, it's so
911. Yeah. But yeah,
it's true.
I mean, it's like
Joseph didn't get to pick his calling either, did he? That's a calling.
Man.
Oof. Man.
Yeah, you think about the story of Joseph. I mean, we've been thinking about this recently, right? Like, he decided he was going to divorce his wife quietly first, right? just as a way to be righteous and not to totally defame her or like shame her. And then he's like, well, then the angel appears to him too, and he decides to stick with it and fathers this child. Like,
yeah,
that's a righteous dude.
Yeah. And then it happens, and then I wonder what they're like connecting. Like the shepherds run in, and they're like, these angels,
right,
and out of heaven, and they told us to come here, and he's like, dude, that affirms that angel coming,
right?
You know, like, because he's still wrestling, maybe. I don't know.
For sure.
I mean,
how many months that was earlier, you know, and.
But I love that the shepherd gets healed.
I know, right?
You know, it's like, of course he does.
Oh man, yeah. It's just they do such a good job of the humanity plus the glory. You know,
right? Yeah.
That the Lord's not afraid of the messes. You know, and
he became a human.
He became a human.
That's the biggest mess there is.
Right.
But I love the lamb connection at the end too.
Oh yeah.
That one got me again. I was like, oh man. Back to them being a shepherds and the spotless lamb. I mean, they brought that. It's like, that's who they weren't just ordinary shepherds. Like, the Lord's using all this, like he's screaming it. In storytelling world, he is screaming who Yeshua is.
Right.
So beautiful. It's so amazing.
I mean,
what a story.
Used a multitude of angels to literally scream it.
It's true.
You know, but I like how they did it too. Like the bright lights, and it was just music. I mean, it had to be some of the most beautiful sounds you've ever heard in your life.
Right.
You imagine that those, I mean, we don't get to know the rest of their story, like from a biblical standpoint, but like that'll rock your world, change your life. Like you're ruined for the rest of everything else.
Yeah, and I love their response was,
we have to tell everybody.
People must know.
Yeah, people must know.
People must know. Like that's their immediate thing is evangelism.
Right.
It's proclamation.
Yep.
Right? Evangelion. It's people must know. We must tell the world the good news. We must tell them that good peace on earth, goodwill toward men, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And I think that's like, this is probably the story that has been told so much, right? And you get used to it. You get used to the manger and Mary, and you know, it almost gets colloquial or it almost gets boring, right? But you see it like this, and you let your imagination run wild, and like no, people must know.
People must know.
Because this is the most incredible story that's ever been told.
Right.
And so God stepping into time as a human, like that's magnificent, and it's huge. Like it, like in some ways, like it doesn't get old. Like we just need to recapture the beauty of it. And so thank you, chosen team, for helping recapture the beauty of it, because people must know.
This is somewhere around the time where you forgot the name of your goat.
I did remember it.
What is it?
Willow.
Willow.
What do you? That's my favorite part.
Yeah. So glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to be happy.